Melissa Deerson is an artist and a writer who makes mostly public projects and also gallery work. Her art revolves around the overlaps between human and non-human domains, particularly in unloved or urban areas.
City Square, say, and you sit there and there's seagulls and pigeons and sparrows all together, and you sit there and you look at it and you're like, well, that's kind of amazing because they're all different species all hanging out. It's sort of like us and orangutans and lemurs sort of all hanging out, and you start thinking, well, are they speaking the same language to each other? Like, they're obviously interacting, but do they look at each other as alien as we look at a monkey or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, you sort of start really being aware of the relationships between these things around you that you just think, birds normally, you know, fighting over a piece of roll or whatever. But yeah, you sort of start, I don't know, it definitely makes you look at things. I started off going to uni and doing arts and law at Melbourne, which was not to my taste. So about 1 year in, I decided I would do an arts degree instead, and did lots of classics and literature, and then slowly started doing more and more art history subjects, and then decided that would be my major. I was in a collective with 2 other people from RMIT actually, where we were doing collaborative art and drawing, and that got me into making and having exhibitions. And so yeah, I'd been having exhibitions for a few years, maybe 5, it's probably up to 5 years now, and finally got up enough experience to actually go to uni as an artist. So I've just started at Monash doing my Master of Fine Arts, which is fantastic. It's great. It's a nice thing, I think, to come to it via this roundabout sort of path, where writing's kind of my main thing, actually. You know, everything I make really starts as me reading books or writing things. Most things, if you go through my workbooks, pretty much everything I've made, you could find the sentence that describes it before it was made, and it might be a year beforehand, but it eventuates, but it's always out of words. So I think going to school and doing an arts degree really shaped the art that I make now. I think generally the things that inspire my artwork are things that are around, mostly in the city, that are like non-human things, so like weeds and birds and insects, and the stuff that we live with all the time but never really take notice of. So and the things that maybe poke through unexpectedly. So, you know, if you're in the city, it's a really constructed environment and you think of it as really human-made, you know, it's made for human purposes. But when you start looking at it more closely, you see that there's all this unplanned stuff. They sort of indicate how there's this, that a human domain isn't actually just a human domain, it's we're living with non-humans in a day-to-day way, you know, and that for them, that's their domain. That's where they live and we're in their domain. The project that I did at Testing Grounds, which was doing a garden encouragement day. So I was inspired or interested in this idea that, particularly in biodynamics, where you bury something in the ground that's not actually going to change you know, it's not like fertilizer. You bury it in this kind of symbolic way to, yeah, I don't know, to encourage your land. What I hope when people participate in this stuff is that, again, they have this sort of attentiveness to things that they would normally overlook, and particularly the non-human.
To find out more information about Melissa's work and her upcoming exhibitions, head to www.melissadeerson.com.